Hello again, this is Jurgen and
Cameron.
with ACT Computers having the second episode with Tech Talk here at our lovely studios with WRPB Studios in Port Saint Lucie. And again, they're doing an amazing job hosting this for us and having already good success, and I hope everybody likes watching it. And so today episode is going to be what?
We're going to be talking about cybersecurity and not only the do's and don'ts, how it happens, the mindset of the scammer, and most importantly, how to protect yourself.
Right. So, and obviously in that, you are our cybersecurity technician. You have a lot of experience, right?
Right. So a little bit about my background is I worked in the cybersecurity organization for 15 years, and then I got my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity. I'm constantly taking new courses, reading the news, looking at, the vulnerabilities coming out. So we try to stay as up to date as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite something. I mean, security is something, we started as a break-fix type of computer company, and so we're more and more involved in security every day. So we see this is just an industry by itself, obviously, right?
Right. And so one of our biggest concerns is the people that helped found the country, the people who fought the wars for us, got us through the Depression times, things like that. They come from a time where the security that they were about were key locks, on their house. There wasn't a big need for them to think about technological security. And so now we're coming to the age of 2023, 2022, where they have their pensions, their retirement funds, their investments at risk.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot more to think about. The way we see technology, like I started with CPM and DOS, and back then we had viruses already, very simple ones, but they were still destructive. So losing your data and stuff like that. But back in those days, in the 90s, there really wasn't any scamming going on around that, because we didn't have email yet, really, per se. Once that started going around, there's a lot more inventions around that to scam people out of their hard-earned money. And so here at ACT, and with our Tech Talk show, we really like to educate our customers, and we do this all the time.
Right. And so our customers, we have probably 10 to 20 people come in a week, and it breaks my heart every time. And it's in various stages. Someone who has just allowed the scammer on the computer, someone who has now let it take over their entire life. They're calling from a burner phone because they can't trust their phone.
Yeah.
And it really gets heart-wrenching. So we want to talk a little bit about not only how it began and how to prevent it, but also the mentality of the scammers.
Right. And many times, I always keep telling our customers, when you have a scam happening to you, or somebody hacks your computer, it's not really the the image as you see in the movies of a guy sitting in the corner in the dark at home with no friends hacking your computer. That is really unusual. That's just in the movies. Maybe there's something like that out there, but most of these things are now organized companies. So those scamming companies mostly are based overseas. They operate just like a regular business. They have employees, they have payroll. You won't believe how they are organized, and that's how they get away with this, right?
Right. I would compare it almost to a high-pressure sales call room where you have a desk of 20, 30 people, and they have the job if they make the sale. And in this case, their sale is getting money from you in the form of Amazon gift cards, bank account transfers, and it could be really a scary thing for someone who isn't experienced with it. I'm going to start off and let you know first that if you get a screen popping up on your computer that says your computer's infected with 1,000 viruses, do not turn off your computer. Sometimes they even talk. That it's not infected, don't call the number, because that is just a pop-up window. It's an ad. I can go into a little bit how that works if you'd like.
Sure, yeah, sure.
So we all know about ads on TV, ads on the radio, but imagine the people who are monitoring and allowing the companies to do ads. They get submitted a paper or an email that this says, this is how our ad's going to run. We're going to sell shoes at 20% discount. And then further down the line, imagine if they said, 100% discount, but we'll also take your first child. So it's kind of like that. They submit their ads to Google ads and Bing ads, and they have people that monitor this, but a lot of times it's just programs and algorithms monitoring this.
Right.
And then they do a fast swap. They'll pull out the good ad and put in the one that takes over your entire screen. So you might be looking for, we've seen people looking for recipes, looking for discounts on travel, discounts on shoes, and they happen to encounter that bad ad that takes over their whole screen.
Yeah, and it's especially prevalent if you're like a do-it-yourself type of person, and I am. And let's say you go on a search engine like Google and you say, oh, there's a problem with my printer, how do I fix it? And you usually type it in, and you see a couple results that are maybe real and some are definitely fake, and they ask you to call a phone number to help you fix your problem. And there lies the thing. They're trying to get in your machine, you allow them to get in remotely, they take over the machine, and that's what will start happening then.
Right, so when someone gets into your machine, the first thing they do is to export your passwords from your saved passwords from either Chrome, Safari, it doesn't matter if it's Mac or Windows, and then after that they basically have everything from you.
Yeah.
Then they will present you and say, hey, it's going to be $250 to repair your computer issue.
Right.
And they can take you over to your bank account, and they know, based on the passwords they exported, whether you have a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and they have pictures that they put on the screen over yours that make it look like they just took balance away, or somebody has taken balance away, and that you have to do something like send the gift cards, and that will make it look like you lost money, but they're really just trying to get you to send them money.
Right. This whole thing is, obviously, the preventive method of all of this is don't let anybody in your machine unless you know it's a company that's locally, or you've talked to them previously and you know it's a legit company. And in many times it's the customer or the client engaging with this fraudulent company and letting them in. They don't just come automatically. So
No.
it's always somebody acting upon it, and it's an offer that can't be refused, or they're trying to scare you and saying, hey, Windows needs to be reactivated, or some baloney, some licensing problem, or something that makes no sense. And they're trying to really bamboozle you, and especially here in Florida, I know we have an elderly demographic that aren't so familiar with technology, and they're really exploiting that, which really, really annoys us. So.
Right. And when it comes down to, it's interesting nowadays. We were all heard about movies with a big traditional virus where it crashes 1,000 systems. Thanks to the advancements in security technologies and permissions, we no longer see macro viruses, viruses that delete your whole operating system. There's no money in it, so there's nobody making that. But what we do see is these scammers. And you mentioned a minute ago, it's like a business. If you go to Google, please don't do this, but when we had an opportunity, we typed in Facebook into Google, and a sponsored meaning they put money to show their ad first. A sponsored ad there took you to a hijacked page that took over your page. And if you look at the little description of it, 1,000 likes, whatever, it looked just like a Facebook page.
Yeah.
So it is completely a corporation.
Right.
And now you also mentioned about how people don't just call you and tell you have a computer problem. Like another one, for example, is Amazon will call you and say you have a $999 iPhone charge.
Yeah.
And push 2 to dispute it, right? Well, we try to get in with them and see what's going on, but they always know it's us, and they hang up on us.
Yeah.
But we offer remote monitoring and management services so that we scan your firewalls, your viruses, and keep your Windows up to date. So unless you have a contract with a reputable company in the area, no one's going to call you about your computer.
Yeah.
We call our clients and say, hey, Melissa accidentally downloaded something. You might want to check it out. In the meantime, we're scanning.
Right, because Microsoft honestly does not care what's going on your computer, what's happening there. They're not going to notify you there's something wrong with your operating system and to call them to fix it. That has never happened. That will never happen. But even with simple scams, like it has nothing to do with computer stuff. It's just like, we get these phone calls. Obviously, we get some that my car warranty has expired 3 times already last week, and I keep getting those over and over and over again. But when you fall for that's what they're trying to get you to for your hard-earned money, and somehow they're trying to convince you this is real, and that is it. Lots of things like that out there, right?
Right, and we mentioned it's a targeted senior population. They aren't just calling people at random. Like with any business, an ad, you can buy data demographics to say, I want everybody who's between the age of 55 and 65 in this retirement area, and I want to call them.
Right.
So when you do a targeted sales plan like that, they're using auto dialers. They know their audience, just like a good salesperson would.
Right.
But the thing about them that's kind of nefarious, you're not necessarily going to have a salesperson for Tupperware call you and say, my wife and children aren't eating. I need you to buy this Tupperware.
Right.
And they're not going to threaten you with things, but these people will call their demographic and threaten them either physical, emotional harm, or they will suggest that if you don't do this, I'm going to run into problems. So there's a psychological aspect to it as well.
Yeah, of course. It's all, social engineering. That's mainly what it is.
Social engineering.
Trying to get in somebody's mind that this sounds like a great deal. You can't, and even us, we work on this every day. We see this every day. And even us, we get some emails. Like, for example, I got an email in a couple of months ago that looked like it was from Apple and saying, your Apple account has been suspended, or I ordered something, you need to call them. And I looked at them like, wow, I know it's a scam, but this looks really good. If you're not really looking through that email and finding out that it came from some weird website address or some email address doesn't exist, then you're getting into yourself in trouble. Same thing was like I got an email about a coupon for like a famous pharmacy, saying, oh, you have this coupon, which somehow they know about it. Click on this website to redeem your coupon. Looks at the website. That's not the pharmacy. That's something else.
Right, and you can take it. The biggest protection for your computer and your assets lies between the keyboard and your chair. So you knowing exactly what to do in these situations. But like you said, it could be hard. In college, we learned about how to fake email addresses. So we could even make it look like it's coming from Apple. We learned how to establish what's called persistence on your computer. So even if you remove their tool, there's still persistence. Thank God that most of the time these hackers are just doing it en masse and don't have enough intellect or time.
Right.
Because if you check, there's a good one, Norton. People get a Norton email. Your Norton expired.
Yes.
You just paid, but if you look at the email address, it'll be from a Gmail. It'll be some
weird Gmail address from 12345gmail.com, and they're trying to fool you into renewing your antivirus subscription, which you might not even have, or it's active anyway, and that's how they fool you. A lot of things we're trying to do, educate our customers in this stuff. We talk about this every day. You can also call us, and we do a free seminars for your business, or if you're a nonprofit or your retirement home. We just were at a computer club in Vero Beach. We talked about it, and so educate our customers about what to do. Also, very important, if you go to our website, we actually have under our services computer safety all the way on the bottom. It gives you a page you can print out, which is quite nice. It's kind of hard to see the left side now because it's on green, and we are on a green screen. So we're not supposed to be wearing green. So anyway, that's hard to see here, but this is what to do and what not to do. And this is actually something we print out and we give out to our customers and clients. Just a cheat sheet to say, hey, don't do this. Very simple things like, we all know not to open up email attachments that we don't know where they're coming from.
Right.
But this is still number one thing, how things get in your machine, right?
Yep. And that leads to ransomware.
Right.
So ransomware is a little bit different than the scammers just coming in and taking your passwords and stuff. Ransomware can actually encrypt or lock your hard drive and need a key. And they will threaten you with that and say you're going to lose all your information if you don't send us Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, exactly.
And why Bitcoin?
Yes, because you can't trace that.
Because you can't trace it.
Yeah.
So, and then you don't even know whether you're going to be able to get your key back. A lot of times these things are paid, and the scammer has just locked up your system, and they don't even have the right key. They just want the money.
A key, as in let's make them understand what it means. Like it's encryption key. So basically, the virus goes in, which is actually a very simple program. It's not a sophisticated program. It just rattles through your hard drive and it starts encrypting your data. So with a password basically that nobody has. They say they have it, and then if you pay the money, which you should never do, that's why you have to support these companies or these people, is then they will say, oh, we'll give you that key back. Many times it doesn't happen.
Right.
You still have the money. We're talking about a lot of money here.
Right. We've had government offices pay, not us, but we have seen government offices pay the ransom.
Right. And so the only remedy for that is once you do have something like that bad happening to your data on your server or your computer is to have a backup. So that's always the thing. No matter what, I'm a big believer in backups. Not just one, not just two, three. And then also one that's online. And the big thing about backups is also with ransomware viruses especially, when the drive is plugged into your machine, let's say you have an external hard drive plugged into a machine and you get a ransomware, what happens to your backup on the external hard drive?
It's going to be encrypted as well.
Exactly. Whatever's plugged in is encrypted the same way. So you have to have a backup that's off-site, that's cloud-based, that has no connection to your machine at this time when this happens. And you also have to find this encryption in time, because if your machine keeps on backing up and you don't catch this in time,
you're backing up your encrypted files.
You're backing up over your data, and then it's more and more difficult to restore. So the only real fix is to back it up and restore your data, and that's been the fix for many sites, for large organizations to have a backup, right?
Right. So the current standard is to have a local backup, to have a cloud backup, and then also carry a USB with you in your briefcase, something that contains the most critical files. If you do QuickBooks, make sure you have a copy of your company file on your USB stick.
Right. I mean, you can do it really quite simple. Like, we set up backups in multiple stages, and even if you say, okay, you're so paranoid, you need to have a backup on you all the time. Like, I have a USB thumb drive on me, this guy right here.
And they're not expensive.
And this one is not just like the regular thumb drive. The regular ones are you just plug in the machine and they read. This one, as you can tell, it has a fingerprint reader on it. So I have to plug it in, put my fingerprint on it, just like my cell phone, and it's encrypted. It will not unlock this without my finger. So if I lose my keys,
nobody gets it.
Nobody can get to my data. So very important. But these things are all available, and I see this quite often that backup isn't done, backup isn't checked. Even if you're running a backup for your company, your home, and you think it's being backed up, it's a good idea to check it by yourself once in a while, right?
Right, yeah. We monitor customers' backups, and if there's any issues, files missed, we can run the backup again. If it becomes a bigger problem, we'll send someone out there to physically check the backups.
Right. But it's always a good idea to check yourself, or if you're running a company, to have someone in your staff, not just your IT company, to check things once in a while to see if it's really backing up. And then also do a test restore. Because just imagine this, you might be running a backup on something that you're not supposed to be backing up. You're backing up everything else, but not really what you really need.
Exactly.
So lots of different things.
So how can we prevent these scammers and these attackers overseas from executing their plans?
Well, it's just about, like you're saying, we're doing right now, is educating the customers, and you can talk about this all day long. They are very successful. They're making billions of dollars with this worldwide. That's how the industry works, and insurance companies have to pay for that, and then the rates go up for insurance companies, and it's a whole, it never stops.
So
circle.
We get a question a lot. What's the best antivirus to use? What's going to stop someone from doing this? And they're using legitimate software. TeamViewer you might have heard of. There's other ones such as UltraViewer or AnyDesk. Those are legitimate software that a corporation is going to use to allow their employees to remote into the network.
Right.
So there's not an antivirus that's going to stop that. What I have found, though, is installing an ad blocker.
Yeah, ad blocker will do to keep, basically when you get a pop-up, it doesn't just pop up on your screen. You can add those into Chrome. But also, be careful with those things. When you download an ad blocker add-in for Chrome or your browser, make sure it's legit. and the NOT itself is some piece of spyware, because they have that too. So you're downloading an ad blocker that is actually spyware itself.
Right, and also the double-edged sword of that is, for example, AdBlock Plus. It's a great ad blocker, but sometimes you go to a website like AOL.com or maybe even your bank, and it will accidentally block certain elements on the page that seem like an ad. But there's always a switch you can say, make an exception for this.
Yeah, you can say, but allow this website next time. But it's a good thing to have an ad blocker on there. And let's say, for example, I get this question all the time. You receive a suspicious email on your work computer, and you say it has something attached to it, and you don't want to open this because that might be something not legit. How do you deal with that? You say you really are curious what's in that file. It might be a real thing that somebody's sending you, some important document. So what do? Best thing to do is open it up on a non-Windows device. You can open up that email on, let's say, your cell phone or an Apple phone, an iPhone, because if it was a virus like that that's designed to run on a PC, it cannot execute on the phone.
Exactly.
Nothing happens.
No, it doesn't. Your phone or a Mac or the Linux system uses permissions. In order to access any of those things, that virus is going to need permissions. Windows has tried with user access controls. It pops up, are you sure you want to install this program?
Yeah.
But it's not enough.
I mean, Windows has gotten a lot better. I mean, back in the old days of, one of the most popular operating systems in the world was Windows XP. And I remember wiping out machines all day long and reloading them because they got so many programs on there and viruses, it just didn't function anymore.
Right.
So once we started getting into Windows 7 and then 10, we really saw viruses, infections, and bad things dropping really, really fast. But also with advanced virus scanners, and people sometimes don't realize it because they don't know, nobody ever told them, a virus scanner is not the same as like the free version. I wouldn't recommend pay for it. And then also there is an upgraded version sometimes, and there's also a corporate version. So let's say the ones that we utilize, you actually can execute something that's called a sandbox. You want to explain what that is?
So a sandbox is where it kind of builds a wall around the program, gives it enough to just run, but it doesn't allow it to access your C drive, any of your critical documents, and you can examine the behavior of the file that you're going to run or executable without it affecting the rest of your system.
Right. So with the more advanced corporate virus scanners, you can basically say, okay, run this, whatever I got, in this safety box that's not going to explode past my computer, okay? And then you see what's inside. Oh, I don't like it. Get rid of it. It's fine. So that's a really cool thing right there.
And one thing I wanted to bring up, I have a personal pet peeve with this on social media. If your social security was the amount you had in your bank account, post it in the comments below. If your mother's maiden name was a dog's name, post it in the comments below. Scammers will post these things that seem like they're innocent or not troublesome, but they're really trying to get your security questions. Right. Or if your date of birth was the amount you had in your bank account. So they're social phishing for things like that. Of course.
I mean, social media, Facebook and Twitter and what else out there, they're all good in their own ways. But again, that's another complete different topic here about security, because obviously they're using that to fish for information.
Right.
I mean, I get friend requests all the time from friends that have been hacked and say, whoop, I've been hacked. Because anybody can make an account on Facebook and call it somebody else with a different name on it, and then they start sending it to you. So that's really bad. Because also, I advise everybody, when you sign up for something like a social media platform, don't be so willing to give away all the information. I myself, I'm from Europe, from Germany. I moved here a long time ago. But I'm still in contact with a lot of technicians in Germany and other countries, and the security and the protection about your data is much higher than it is here. And we really have to get more into that. It's not really that it's controlling you, but it's telling people, hey, don't give out all the information, because that will, and at the end, that will hurt you.
And unfortunately, what we see is a lot of people using their birth year, their dog's name, and maybe their grandchild's name. All publicly available information. And if they put that in a word list, they can go for your attack. But we should be using the same password for everything, right?
No. Passwords, there's another discussion. I think we can have a whole new show, a whole entire show about that one. As we all know, passwords are that's a necessity nowadays. But you have a different password for everything. Just don't have the same password or add a number to it or something. You gotta have the same password for everything. And also, I'm not a believer and not a fan of anything they call an online password bank. I don't like that idea. So there are services, legit services, companies you pay money to save your passwords online.
Like LastPass.
Like LastPass.
And they've been compromised several times.
Yes.
You go for the target that has the information.
I think they got their stuff worked out now, but the problem is with these companies, they try their best to protect your information, but imagine this. You put all your eggs in one basket here, and that basket is now opened, and they can look inside. So keep your passports, the most important ones, maybe write them down in your wallet, and maybe write something else behind them, so it kind of makes no sense to anybody else.
Right.
That's what I do. And then even keep them on your pillow is fine too.
So you have to check your pillow or your wallet.
Yeah.
So I want to give 3 critical things to take out of this whole thing. Don't call that number when you get that pop-up.
Right.
Amazon is not charging you $999 for an iPhone 4. And then there's something called two-factor authentication. So even if the scammer gets your password, and we'll have another episode more about this, but even if the scammer gets your password, you will get a text to your phone that says someone's trying to access your account. Please enter this code.
All right.
If they don't enter the code, they don't get in.
Yeah, 2FA, two-factor authentication. And I think we're getting to the end of our show here, but I think we're going to have one quite soon again to expand on this topic, because we can talk about this all along. There's 2FA, security like that, a lot of things coming up. I'll leave it with this. You can call us anytime you have any problems with your computer. We have 9 people on staff right now, ACT computers. We're based in Vero Beach. The number is 772-567-7888. And you can reach us on the internet. It's actcomp.us, on Facebook and YouTube, all over the place. So
I just want to give a shout out to one of our technicians who's been doing so good, building these amazing gaming machines, making these notes that are just so precise and explain the information. We have a technician named Michael who makes these i9 4090, the most powerful gamers. Super cool. He doesn't do anything halfway. So if you have a kid coming for summer and you're looking to do something nice for them, come down and see us and see what we can do about a gaming setup. We have everything running from $600 for a starter all the way up to $2,400 that could be used to run a studio like we're on right now.
Great. Thank you very much. And that's our business right behind us. We're actually not sitting in our parking lot. We're in the studio. It looks like it, but anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back on next week, and we'll be talking about 3D printing, especially bringing a printer on air called the
Bamboo Carbon X1.
Really cool. We'll be talking about that. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.